Firstly, Liz, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Thank you very much
So
for inviting.
it's my pleasure, sir. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
Okay, let's go. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
So before that, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Absolutely. So I'm Luis Bravo Martins. I started working in immersive technology, so in augmented reality field in 2015. But I started working. I always work in the intersection of technology and marketing, and that started happening in the past century. So I witnessed the rise of the internet bubble and actually saw a lot of things that were happening. I wouldn't say the same way, but in a similar way to what we're seeing right now, also happening inside all this metaverse push that we're seeing right now. So since then, I was fortunate enough to work at a consultancy. Also worked at a telco. Had my own startup that I sold. Then I thought I was a genius, and then I created another one, and of course I crashed and burned. And then had yet another company on also again about technological platforms for marketing and advertising agencies, and that lasted until 2014, around the time that I got this invite to join an augmented reality studio that was part of a larger corporate group. And since then, I have been very much into, again, immersive technologies, augmented reality, and pretty much what these technologies are going to change in our lives. So that's pretty much my focus. Right now, I am working since last year at KITAR, which is a company that deals on augmenting the workforce in the manufacturing field. And that's, in a nutshell, I think that's my timeline.
So you're from?
Portugal, right now speaking from Lisbon.
So you born and bought from Portugal.
Yes.
Awesome. So your present work is about virtual. I mean, uh, 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 it is about the present work is about.
Right now, what we do at KITAR is we enable the workers on the manufacturing shop floor, namely in the automotive and the aerospace industry, to with tools, augmented reality tools, and also artificial intelligence tools that enable them to reduce the errors and waste while doing their own jobs. So pretty much they wear smart glasses. So our solution is installed in these smart glasses that they're Microsoft HoloLens, and then from then on, they start seeing. So the workers start seeing what they need to do step by step, overlaid on top of the equipment with which they need to interact with. And in a nutshell, that's it. So they have the instructions, the step-by-step instructions. They fulfill them. Whenever they have the need to check for if they did the job correctly, our solution can actually help, and they can in specific phases confirm if they did what they should have done, and if not, they can get some advice on how to correct the mistakes. And and that's pretty much what our solution does. So we are not replacing people by robots. We are not promoting artificial intelligence per se. We are centering all of these technologies around human workers, and that's pretty much our focus right now.
So you started working on augmented reality and artificial intelligence since 2014.
Yeah, more on the augmented reality side, yes.
So what made you to come into this?
Well, it was again an invitation from this. Well, it was a director that with which of this company, the CEO was actually someone that I met a while ago, like I don't know, in 2003 or 2004, in a whole different context. And then we kind of kept in touch, and he thought that it would be interesting for me to come on board, to join in, and to help on promoting augmented reality solutions. So in the sense that these augmented reality solutions don't be they start being communicated. So the need was that these solutions for these solutions to start being communicated in a way that they relate to everyday value and not to technological concepts. And that's actually one of the problems that right now you see with so many of the technological products out there, is that they start like shedding out a lot of tech lingo that people don't know. So they suddenly they are sometimes just talking to themselves or to their competitors, and it's really hard for them to connect with their target audience. So that's pretty much my job. So that's what I was brought in, and I felt that it was really a really enticing and a huge opportunity for me at that time. So I said yes.
So how many projects you did, and what is your favorite and why it is?
How many projects? Sorry.
How many projects you did on augmented reality and artificial intelligence since the day you started working, and what is your how many projects, and at the same time what is your favorite project and why you like it most?
So as I am not developing the projects themselves, so it's kind of hard to have a full track of what or how many I followed up and I worked on. Um, for sure, I would say that there were several interesting ones along the way. So for instance, the possibility that I had to actually create augmented reality products was really, really interesting, because at that time we weren't so aware of so many specific I wouldn't say features, but specific characteristics of augmented reality experiences. And we created those products based on, well, our experience and pretty much the ones around us. And that kind of, well, showed us and allowed me to get in touch with a lot of, well, a lot of other needs, because again, mistakes were done, and again, it would only be weird or awkward if that didn't happen, because we're in the beginning or we were in the beginning of the industry. But overall, it was really, really interesting to see how again. Other iterations and other similar products made the same mistakes, and then how they iterated, and ultimately how they started like shedding out more and more, or bringing more and more results to their customers based on augmented reality experiences, like for instance in the tourism area or retail. So it right now, I'd say that that was an important experience in my professional timeline. And of course, right now, what I'm doing inside KITAR, the opportunity to promote a different way of seeing the manufacturing industry, and of actually valuing human workers inside the manufacturing shop floor, and empowering them to do more. I feel that it really is enticing, and that's actually one of the things that I think augmented reality does a lot, or is a bit different from several other technologies and has a lot to offer. It's this ability to very quickly disrupt and change, transform. I wouldn't say disrupt, I would say transform the way we do our work and the way we perform and deliver results. And that, of course, has a lot of other impacts. But talked a lot.
So to do your job, I'm sure to do your job better, I'm sure you'll be concentrating on the reality and understanding what exactly are needed for you to create augmented reality and artificial intelligence tools or machines.
I'm not sure if I understood the question. If can you please repeat it? Sorry, because sometimes it cuts down.
So your job really required and important for you to understand the reality in order to work on augmented reality and artificial intelligence tools or machines.
Yes, sometimes. So we use inside KITAR artificial intelligence in the sense that we have algorithms that enable us to, and the worker to automate some of the processes that they have regarding quality assurance. So that's the main focus. Again, my interaction with these technologies, it's pretty much the same, and horizontally to all technologies, what I do is try and promote and extract the common sense value that it brings to the business and try to communicate that as the best as I can. And that's actually something that I try and do both with augmented reality and with technologies as a whole, because it's, again, I don't even go down to the technologies level. What I do promote inside KITAR, it's actually the product and the benefits, because that's what relates, or that actually matters to our target audience.
So you're into Chief Marketing Officer from last 1 year, almost 1 year. So how is it? Are you enjoying, and what is happening?
No, absolutely. Fully enjoy it. Pretty much it's fully aligned with my expectations when I entered. So I'm really looking forward to what the future is bringing, and also the opportunity to work in a startup. So this rapid pace of growth, of also the expectation setting, which is always very, very ambitious. It's a very different mindset, and more than that, it's really and for me, it's really enticing. So I'm really happy with everything that is happening, and the outlook is great. So really looking forward to 2002 and 22. Sorry.
Great. And you also work as a guest speaker at marketing and XR events as a freelance. You're doing this from 2019.
Yeah, again, after I started working in this area, I felt the need also to start thinking a bit about how all those non-technical issues could be sorted out, because again, and you see that with social media, you see that with a lot of technological platforms. You have technology right now is driving our communication, is driving the way we relate to each other, right? So if I was going to ask you if you'd be communicating with emojis and memes like, I don't know, 6 years ago, you would say, what's an emoji? Because no one was actually doing that, right? And suddenly right now it's very, very easy, right? If I was going to tell you that 600 million people are doing TikToks every day, you'd say, what's a TikTok? So it didn't exist. So the speed that things are happening is huge, but at the same time, we are not, because of that, and but not just because of that, we are not being onboarded. We are not being educated on how to responsibly use these technologies, these platforms. So we are just jumping in and using it. So, and again, it's good because we reap the benefits of using these technologies, and of course we use social media because it has benefits. It's not because it's harmful to us, right? But the issue is that sometimes we don't like tech. We don't have the time, nor we are educated enough. Speaking for myself, and that's my experience, to actually take like a step back and look about what we're giving and what we're taking from that relationship, and what it all means. So again, this is especially important if, for instance, I have a kid of 7 years, and it's especially important for me when thinking about managing his relationship with virtual reality, augmented reality, or any technological platform for that matter. Also regarding safety, also regarding privacy, also regarding my own data, also regarding even the level, or what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed, and not just at the regulation level, but also as a practice, as an ethical level, as a deontological practice. What should be done for each one of them at a professional class level, and also at a citizenship level. All of these are topics that are not going to be handled, and because they were never handled before, and they are not going to be handled by technologists and developers inside technological platforms, because that's not their job. But that's why it's so important to involve people from so many other areas to build these technologies, in order for these technologies to become aware of all of these major parts of our lives, so that we make sure that these technologies are in the center, or sorry, that us humans are in the center of these technologies. And that's pretty much what drove me to, well, to connect with communities, to speak, to share ideas and try and promote a bit of the discussion on these matters. And that's pretty much what I do in those events I speak at.
So you are from .NET bubble, and you are seeing internet, the virtual world from long time. You know what how things are working inside the machine from long time.
I wouldn't say that, because the machine changed a lot. So it's not what we're living right now. It's pretty much as we were saying. So what we're living right now is not the same world we lived like 6 years ago, and the world that we're going to live like in 3 years time is not going to be the world we're living right now. And that's the speed we're at. In like 2 years time, we will be having flying taxis in cities, and that's registered. Here in the EU, we are going to have 50 test beds of flying cars, flying taxis. So if you ask, like, for instance, my mother, she is 72, and she is not technologically enabled, let's say like that, what she thinks about this, she will tell you that I'm crazy, that is not going to happen, because again, in her concept of the world, that's something that only lies on sci-fi movies and books. And that's pretty much one of the issues that we have right now, because sci-fi scenarios are coming towards us at lightning speed, and we need to become a bit more aware of that, right? So what I'd say, and it's not like for the fact that I'm keeping up and keeping updated with technology, that I am, of course, I am privileged but at the same time, I am not exempt of actually educating myself. Let me give you an example. Like, for instance, it was until a short while ago, let's say like 1 year time, that I was, I won't say completely unaware, but I was downplaying blockchain and cryptos. And around that time, I thought that because I didn't know, and this was pure ignorance. And I said, no, I need to try and educate myself in this, or else I will be missing out on a lot of things that right now are already happening, and even more will start happening, and they did, and they are. So I really need to focus on this. But the issue is, because of this need for us to keep on educating ourselves in different technologies, what we will probably see during this decade is the rise of different levels of illiteracy. So you will have, because for instance, right now you have people that know digital and people that don't know digital, and that's it, right? And then you have like people that know how to use a computer, but those are mostly digital, and the ones that don't. But now you will have like people that know what blockchain is, people that know what augmented reality is, artificial intelligence, machine learning, biotechnologies, nanotechnologies, um, autonomous cars, flying cars, so many trends. And the issue is that these trends translate to things in our lifestyle, in our daily lives. And when that will happen, then another thing, and I think this is also going to happen in this decade, another thing is going to also happen is that suddenly we will look around and we will see things that we won't be able to understand. And this is really hard because suddenly we won't know what that is and what it's meant for. That right now happens, for instance, for tools that are very business specific. For instance, there are tools in the oil and gas industry, there are tools in the, well, in pretty much all the bigger industries that are very much focused on specific goals inside that only make sense in those industries' processes. Now, imagine that feeling in our daily lives. So I think that is going to happen. And because, again, nothing, so what happened like 3 years ago is not what's happening right now. And the only thing that we're going to have is change in our lives, continuous change. That's why it's so very important for us to actually become aware of the need to become educated and to educate ourselves continuously. So, and to learn pretty much. When I say educated, it's more in that sense, to learn. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So can I say a lot of people who are not into tech before are completely into tech today? Everybody understands, not only technologists who knows programming, who knows how to develop a software, who knows how the IT industry works. Not only them, most of the non-tech people are into internet today. Can I, because you are watching the change from long time, this people entering to this world, becoming so, um, uh, disconnecting with the social world and coming to the social networks and building their social presence and online presence.
Yeah, you have that. But I'd say that, again, it's pretty much another communication tool, like, for instance, television was, or radio. So, for instance, when television appeared, people would say, oh, no, but the television is going to kill, everyone will just be zombified on the living room looking at the television, and people will not talk anymore between themselves. It wasn't like that. Of course, it had an impact, but it wasn't like that. And again, we always have the opportunity to turn it off. Now, the issue is that, and again, with social media, the same, and with the metaverse that is, I wouldn't say upcoming, but it's something that is on our path for sure. and our future, it really is important, and it becomes even more important to highlight the individual responsibility, individual responsibilities, relevance in actually making the decisions and act in a way that is, again, efficient and that is healthy and that promotes healthy habits in using technology. So, of course, if you spend all your time connected to the social networks, and if you you kind of sculpt your life around social media, and you create a profile and you start like doing photo shoots for your Instagram because you need to like abide to this model that you have in your mind. Again, if it's not like a professional choice that you made, and if it's like draining everything else from your life, of course, that's not a healthy habit. But mind you, that's not a healthy habit on social media or anywhere else. It's something that needs to be handled. But again, it all boils down to us being aware of the dangers and the issues that platforms and technologies and challenges that platforms and these technologies bring, because again, we weren't educated, we weren't onboarded to use them. So it's kind of easy for us to like fall down a loophole or a trap, and suddenly we are using it much more than we needed to. But that's again all on us individuals, not just individuals that can like make choices for themselves, but also that can start working and thinking on ways to change socially how social organizations can actually work to bring benefits to us all, and to diminish the amount of risk that these challenges bring to our lives.
Yeah, I understood you. And you worked in different positions in your life. You are, I can see you worked in different positions and different companies. Before that, you worked as XR expert reviewer at XR. It's a contract. How was that, and what you learned?
No, it was really great. It was an opportunity to work for an European project called XR for All. So XR for All was um, an enabler, let's say like that of augmented reality proofs of concept, VR and AR, so virtual reality, augmented reality proofs of concept. So it actually paid, so it was a grant for companies to develop proofs of concept and to implement immersive technologies in their areas, and by doing that test to become more to become closer with virtual reality, augmented reality benefits. And it was really great in the sense that they allowed me to connect with very different companies from very different contexts across Europe. The models and the business models that were enabled were really good, and like I wouldn't say half, but a big number of projects that were supported by XR for All were also open source. They are also open to the community to keep on evolving them. And and at that time, it really was enticing to be able to review so many different kinds of business models and revenue models. Also, the possibility of working with really great professionals like Youssef Sabai and Johnny Waterschut that pretty much also contributed directly to my personal growth, and with their minds and their way of thinking and their professional attitude and mindset. So it was overall really, really, really interesting, and again allowed me to have a broader notion of how augmented reality and virtual reality could be applied to business processes.
And you also worked as a head of marketing at IT People Group in 2017 to 2021, which you worked for 3 years, 8 months. So how was that, and what is it about, and what you learned?
Again, that was pretty much the corporate group that invited me to push forward the augmented reality message from one of the companies inside the group called Next Reality. That, well, again, already had several services on augmented reality, but didn't have like a full notion, not notion, but the full processes of to actually promote these their skills on the market, and pretty much the benefits of the technology on the market. It was really, really important for me. I would say even foundational regarding several skill sets. It was also very important for me for the at the human level, because I connected with several people, specifically people inside my marketing team, with which I still talk today, and with which I have a good relationship with. So yeah, in a nutshell, it was really, really important for me, especially because it allowed me to have the contact with a wide or a bigger company, and to run the processes inside it. So that was insightful at several levels, and of course added also a bit more to my tool set, let's say like that, of professional tool set as a marketer, and also as well, an overall professional. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
Great. And you also worked as a functional testing supervisor from 2000 to 2001, which was 20 years back, 22
Yes.
years.
It was, yes. At that time, I assumed that position when I was um, working in a training company, so which was actually my first job. And at that time, it really worked out swell, that interaction, that training company, but it was a smaller one. And then suddenly I had this opportunity to jump into one of those internet bubble e-commerce platforms that was just soaring with a huge amount of investment at that time. And it was being promoted by the main telco here in Portugal, alongside one of the major banks and the major logistics providers. So it was really, really, really big project. Again, um, it was a learning experience, and as first of all, it was interesting to run the functional test team, because we were at that time responsible to fully test the platform, and to go through all of the use cases and make sure that everything the user experience was the correct one. And then afterwards, I also worked as as an analyst inside the platform itself, by not just enabling and supporting the marketing team, but also preparing like reports and analytics for the executive team. So it was again early days. Lots of things happening, but it allowed me also to have a quicker notion of, or a better notion of what was happening, or what is happening right now, given that sometimes I can like do a quick comparison with what happened, or between what happened and what is happening right now with the metaverse.
Great. And you worked in Compagnia, Pro, Propria, and Schoolhouse.
Yeah, that was the training school that I told you about. So it was my first job, and it was mainly to promote a specific. So I entered to promote specific products or specific courses. And then I kind of climbed my way up to becoming the marketing director. So I was responsible at that time to then set up, well, pretty much images, well, and all the communication concept. At that time, the company was not that big. Right now, it's 20 years after. It's a company that is still ongoing and that is still doing its job. Still, in a nutshell, it was truly a learning experience because I didn't have any experience, past experience until going in there.
Awesome. And you're founder of Last Minute Pros.
That also happened, yes. So I was at that time, so I had two, let's say, entrepreneurship, actually one entrepreneurship experience. Maybe I can go through it in a swish. So we have, so the I think it was between 2001 and 2007. I was running Total Web Output, which was an agency, a marketing agency for, well, actually a technology agency for marketers, more like that. So pretty much what we had was technological platforms and tools that could be activated for marketers and agencies. So we were very much focused on that, but overall we had a pet project called well, it was like a freelancer platform, much similar to freelancer.com or Freelance, and we had an exit in 2007. So we had the opportunity to sell that platform, and we were really happy with that. So very nice. Then I thought that well, wow. I'm a genius, so let's push this forward. And of course, I tried also to create another company, and I did. So pretty much, it picked up the name of the last one. It was continued to be Total Web Output, but now focused on yet another. Or with a more broader impact, let's say like that. So we were providing also services for IoT companies and the like. And at that time, so we this started in 2007. So in 2009 and 2011, a crisis hit both the world and then Portugal. And then suddenly we had to like try and find ways to cope. At that time, one of the partners of the company was in Denmark, and we had then the opportunity to, or Danish, and we had the opportunity then to activate business development in Denmark, and alongside with it, there was also the opportunity to create a startup, and then Last Minute Pros appeared. It was a project that was just ideated. It wasn't actually fulfilled. But again, it was really, really important in the sense that, first off, allowed me to, well, I think it won like Launchpad Denmark. It was selected for the Launchpad Denmark contest or challenge. Well, it won an award. I don't recall exactly what, but it related to the quality of the business plan. And afterwards, again, allowed me to tap into a network and a number of training that was very insightful and valuable, again, for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't able, and I wasn't able also to pull it through. But it was an actual and a very interesting experience. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what happened inside Total Web Output as a CEO. And then also at Last Minute Pros, which was, again, more of a pet project, but it actually happened.
Great. And you also worked in e-commerce systems as an e-commerce systems consultant at KPMG. Hungary.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, there was this experience in KPMG. It was really, really interesting. Had this opportunity to cooperate inside the framework of cooperate with colleagues with a consultancy team inside this framework of an European funded project to try and promote e-commerce solutions to Hungarian SMEs. So it was, again, very, very interesting. Allowed me to visit Hungary in a very specific moment in history. So that was also really interesting. Yeah, that was pretty much it. It lasted not so much time. So I kind of remember it as the opportunity I had to connect with these teams, but that was pretty much it. So my focus there was more content editing and the content production. So it's something that again we learn from all experiences, but that one was not one of the biggest ones in my life. Still referred to in my timeline.
Nice. And you also worked as a Portugal Telecom full time for 1 year, e-commerce systems analyst, functional testing supervisor.
Yeah, we talked about that before. It was the when I worked in that internet bubble project. So it was again really interesting in the sense that I was working in the training company, but this opportunity appeared. And although I was doing more like reporting and marketing assistance, it was overall a really, really big and let's say it was another way or a really interesting way for me to gather more knowledge and to feel more prepared for the professional world. I'd say that probably it was my first corporate experience. So in that sense, it was very impactful.
Great. And also you worked as head of marketing IT People Innovation at May 2015 to 2017, 2 years. So it is about and what you learned and what contribution you gave.
We already talked about that one.
Yeah. And also you worked as executive partner at two total web output.
Yeah, when I answered last minute pros, I also talked about that one.
Okay.
I think we went through pretty much all of it.
So I have general questions that I
Sure.
want to ask. Uh, uh, I think you did a lot of publications, you got awards and honors, and you did a lot of projects in your complete career. And you know English, French, and Portuguese, and other four languages.
Not exactly like that, but I know how to speak and write in Portuguese, English, yes. French I can read mostly. Write not that much. Speak it's really, really, really bad. And I have some notions of German and Danish, and I can also speak and write a bit of Spanish, but that's pretty much it. So it's not like I know so many other people that know so many other languages. Unfortunately, that's I wouldn't say that's a big trait from my side.
So, so you are into technology and you are into business side, both. I
Yes.
mean, the product development and also the business side.
Yeah, mind you, when talking about technology, when my interaction with technology is not on the code development nor on the design side, it's mainly on the business strategy side. So that's how I relate to it.
So as an observer, you're watching all the products, all the companies which are, I mean, the top companies in the world, how they are doing business, and eventually, what do you think? As a person who is into this business, what are the those points that every technologist or the business owner of any company who is into technology need to put in their mind? Because, like you said, technology is not the same like what it was before 6 years. So it is changing and it will change. So what are those points that they need to put in their mind if they are from any part of the planet?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say right now the issue is that managers, and this is a key element in our in our economy right now. Top managers are focused just on bringing value to their stockholders, and that's not a problem, mind you. I'm just saying that being exclusively focused on that and exclusively focused on building up the biggest profit that you can kind of clashes with what's coming, I think, which is a world with a much better informed consumer, which a world that enables communities. And that's actually one of the cool things that social media allowed, because suddenly you can connect with like-minded people so easily, and you can start and consciously discuss topics that are interesting for you with so many other people that are, it really doesn't matter where they are. You can do that, like for instance what we're doing right now. So this is only possible because we have the technological solutions at our disposal. So yeah, actually, this is something that I'd say clearly it's one of the, and I want to highlight that because it clearly is something that sometimes it's not valued. So social media brought this, so this ability for us to connect and to learn from each other in a much more quicker way, and to find like doors to go in and to explore through search engines. That's the cool thing that we need to understand. Now, getting back to your question, so regarding what decision makers need to think about, so consumers are going to change, are right now changing. Businesses are also changing in the sense that they are not just focused again on turning a profit. They are also focused on the environment. They are also focused on being more human. And you may say, okay, so but you have so many other companies or companies that are doing this in different speeds. That's happening, of course. Like it's, for instance, for an oil and gas company, you will see a much bigger interest on climate change and on actively becoming sustainable, rather than, for instance, a company that deals on training. Although companies that are dealing on training, professional training, are right now, for instance, enabling virtual reality training, and therefore like reducing a lot of carbon expenses that our world is shutting out. So this to say that it's a changing world. So consumers are changing, businesses are changing, and finally, consumers and businesses have behaviors, and behaviors are changing mainly due to technology. And knowing technology, not just as trends, but also knowing how technology works, how knowing a bit about the possibilities that and doors that technology opens, is halfway to actually gathering and getting like um, a competitive edge on top of your or over your competitors. So that's something that I'd say would be also very interesting for a decision maker to be looking into in this during this decade. But of course, this is very high profile discussion, so it's something that it's more on the we're just like giving out hints, or I'm just giving out hints rather than actually structuring a thought. But I'd say clearly that these two topics or these three topics are going to be key for decision making in 2030.
So, as a marketing officer, what do you think? What do you think that particular thing is making different human beings and who are into different places and who are from different backgrounds, having different experiences? Uh, uh, all these are all these people are connecting with each other because of this word called technology. So, what is that common thing is there which is making everybody to be interconnected and create this world?
I think that marketers are going to be really, really important in the world that we're going again to have in 2030 for the same reasons that I've passed on in my previous answer. Because again, um, right now, marketing professionals are supposed to deliver results, quantified results, and that's the major expectation that usually someone has for a CMO or a head of marketing. So pretty much taking care of the image, the public image of the company, the brand, and at the same time deliver results regarding lead generation. That's it. So it's not. I don't think that's going to cut it at the end of this decade because, again, as consumers become more and more aware regarding climate and regarding social topics, they will demand also for brands to become more engaged, and they will, of course, feel more compelled to interact with brands with that have values with which they can identify with. So that building, that brand building effort will most definitely be happening during this decade, and it will clearly impact the work of a marketing professional, because well, then we will need to know more about our target audience and know what matters to them, and we will need to represent the brand with them, in contact with them, and try and connect with them positively in making that purpose that they have work. So that's clearly one of the efforts. But at the same time, so this to say that marketing professionals will need to become a bit more activists, let's say like that, and will need to become more engaged with people's values and with people's purposes, their consumers at least, and target consumers. But more than that, I'd also say that due to the ubiquitous presence of technology and the increasing diversity of solutions in the market, it will be also increasingly important for marketers to be fully aware of the number of solutions that are on the market. And that clearly is something that needs to be worked out, intended, and it can only be done through education and through again some level of collaboration and cooperation between marketers and technologists, and this is key, I think, for society in the sense that companies' products are going to be sometimes and most of the times are the first experiences that people have with technologies. Let me give you an example. For instance, virtual reality. So we had in virtual reality, we had a lot of people that even today say, "Oh no, I can't do virtual reality because when I put the glasses, I feel dizzy and it's really awkward and I nausea hits in and I really don't want to have that in my life." And the issue is that sometimes they had one experience, or maybe they had two experiences, but they did that with paper smart glasses, like cardboard glasses. The issue is that cardboard glasses rely on your smartphone or on a smartphone to provide the experience, and smartphones weren't built to provide that experience. So of course, that will generate a lot of impact, because what's happening is that suddenly you're putting a smartphone in front of your eyes and you're trying to, well, have a good experience through it. And that's not going to happen. But the issue is that although Google produced those cardboard glasses and allowed for massified virtual reality experiences, the issue is that because it wasn't like a good experience or a very good experience, but it was a new experience, people kind of labeled the technology altogether as being like that. So people ceased to be available to keep on experimenting it. And that's an issue, right? So that's pretty much the job, I guess, from the marketing standpoint, to actually avoid that happening and to be fully aware of what's happening on the market with your products, and also how technology is interacting with people. Because if that happens, then we can actually have then marketers acting a bit as also educators, technology educators, trying to bring in to people the possibilities of the technology, what it allows, and at the same time also creates or build up a communication framework between them and their target audience that is meaningful, and that again at the same time can leverage the technological platforms available. So yeah, I'd say that's what changes in this new world. So the CMO of the decade at the end of this decade will need to be like 1/3 marketer, 1/3 activist, 1/3 technologist, in a nutshell.
So before, before 10 years or before 15 years, there was no cloud or no data centers, no exchange of information, uh, you know, this faster. So your understanding and you saw the difference. So can I say in coming days, technology is going to completely make human to sit in room and do everything for him. He just have to do by using his mind, just sitting here.
But that's the whole point, right? Convenience is the full promise of technology. The issue that sometimes we need to see is, okay, but is that so important for us to be in a room and just think about things and things happen? The issue is that when we think, for instance, let's say about the importance of books. For instance, reading a book is not something that a machine is going to do by us. So why should we read a book? Okay, so I'm guessing that you, for instance, did you see the Harry Potter movies? You did? Okay. Did you read the books?
Some amount, I did.
Okay, but you did tell me one that you read.
The last one.
The last one. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So that last one had that final encounter, that final fight between Voldemort and Harry Potter, and all of the characters are in place. And I am absolutely sure that the way that you envisioned it was absolutely different from the way that I envisioned it, which was absolutely different, as ours was absolutely different from the way the movie turned out. So the issue is, we can only tell a machine to do things that are already there, that are already defined. But to actually, the way that we think the way that we idealize, that we created that final fight is part of us. It's part of how we see the future, how we depict the future. It's us in our own very small context becoming, our brain doing its art, right? So we also need to find time to do this. And I think that machines can actually enable us to do this, not to become like a self-indulgent a self-indulgent species that pretty much just sits there and receives inputs, but rather a species that now has the time and increasingly has more time to shed out more outputs, to create more great things. And that's pretty much the moment. That's pretty much the effort that we need to do, and the space and the time that we need to build in order for these things to happen. And moreover, for these things to happen, uh, cooperating with each other, right? Not just by ourselves, not connecting. We can, again, no problem in being in virtual reality, no problem being in augmented reality, interacting. It's not an issue to do this digitally as we are doing right now. The issue is us creating the opportunity to positively to really push our evolution forward, let's say like that, and leverage the power of technology, not just to for us to have a more convenient life, but for us to have a better life, for us to have a fuller life, and for all of us, not just like some of us, but all of us, to reap the benefits of what it means to be human. And that's pretty much what I think technology can the difference that technology can make. Not exactly like just thinking. Of course, there will be interfaces. Elon Musk has the human machine interface, how human computer interface, Neuralink company, and you have several others. That will happen. Some people will use it, some people won't. Again, having options, for me, it's great. We just need to then afterwards be able to make the choices that best fit us, and then afterwards move forward and make the best out of it.
Yeah, that's what my next question is. What is your understanding about Neuralink and AI?
um, Again, it's another way or another interface for digital experiences. Again, right now is something that can enable very specific use cases. I think that at a given point in time, it might be used in gaming, it might be used in specific industries. I think that the ethics and the amount of topics regarding regulation that are connected with this technology, and this technology alongside with all of the other biotechnology will probably hinder the development of these kind of solutions at a faster pace. So I think it's something that is going to probably happen. I think, again, it's probably going to happen. No, it's going to happen. The issue is how far will it go and how will it develop? Again, in my mind, it's not a matter of sabotaging it or saying that it's bad. It's going to happen. And again, it makes sense. It already proven that it makes sense for a lot of people. So it's all just a matter of creating like a positive framework for those people that really want to use it to actually be able to do so safely and privately. So that's the purpose. Now, that said, of course, we need to also be aware of the implication that has, not just per se. So the fact that you're connecting your brain to a machine, that's one thing, but even more, the principle of it. So, and right now we're not talking about like plugging in a USB port here, but we're talking about doing like something that interacts over your skin. But again, it's something that raises several questions regarding how further down the road technology, or how should technology affect us biologically, and that of course then afterwards has a bigger world. It has words. You can find much more challenges and bigger issues in transhumanist causes and in transhumanist studies, where, for instance, you have several other businesses that are like discussing the possibility of allowing people to just add cyborg arms, but because they want to, not because they lost their arm, right? Or cyborg legs, or be augmented physically. So and have exoskeletons. All of that right now is being discussed, and it's really important that we take these discussions seriously, because these are the questions that are going to then afterwards, in again, at the end of this decade, are going to matter. The kind of work that we're doing right now, because that's the impact that these topics are going to have when things are ready to go live.
What is your understanding about space technology?
Space, not that much. I am not the only kind of knowledge that I have regarding space technology. It's more on the curiosity side, so not at a professional level. So I'm really enthusiastic about the possibilities. Kind of sad that the biggest billionaires in the world decide to launch rockets instead of actually making a difference in so many places that they could make. But yeah, regarding space, not that much to add on, sorry.
So connection between technology and human.
I think that it's not a connection. I think it needs to be there. Technology should only exist and while it serves humankind or mankind, and that's a very important take, that we should even start thinking about turning into a human right or something like that, because it's not something that we should just dismiss. Technology is not, as a whole, specifically digital technologies or digital enabling technologies, are not just tools. They are right now parts, interfaces to different specs of our world, let's say like that. And in not so much time, again, during this decade, it will become, or they will become, the doors to other realities, and that will affect clearly how we live our lives. So it really is important for us to think, and when we think about solutions, to have like some level of a validation of solutions that enables these solutions to be or to become or to become, or to actually verify if they are human-centered. Because again, I think all of our efforts should be towards that, trying to grow humans.
So, in your complete experience, what is that particular thing that is making a product or an individual thought to reach many in the world?
That is going to make that product. Lost you there.
A product or a thought of a person or a human being. What that particular thing which is making the product or a thought to reach uh, different people and different places on the
Yeah,
planet?
I think it all boils down to it mattering. So if it matters to you, then you connect with it and you try to understand how you can interact or engage with it. So that's, in a nutshell, that's it. So, and you do that with all of the pieces of information that you receive. You receive a lot of information regarding, for instance, climate change, and you connect with it because, well, it's about our survival in the long run. Probably you will survive it, or at least you won't die from climate change. But you know that we are pretty much wrecking the world, and that's why it's so important that we take steps towards the right outcome, right? So that's one. For instance, if you see like those tabloid news and you see the life of Meghan Markle and the prince and blah, blah, and you see those news, people that read that they identify with the stories of prince and princess, and they really want to connect with that because they see that they see them also as role models, or they see that they are connected with the monarchy. So again, it all boils down to us being connected in order for communication to happen, and for the message actually, or the topic of the message mattering. And that's actually, let me just add here a very important part, because that's actually something we lost, and it's important that we get that back. With social media and with the algorithm like filtering out opinions that are not aligned with ours, so that because it pretty much showcases just what matters to us, right? And that is aligned with us. We kind of lost contact most of the times with diversity and with other people's reasoning, and that made us much more stern and much more adamant in defending our positions. So we are not, let's say that social media made us less democratic in our attitude, and being able to create the spaces for that to happen again, it's also really, really important. So just to get that back. Sorry, just a quick parenthesis.
So your final words to the people who are watching and listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet?
Absolutely. So first one is that I just highlight that we're talking about change. So change is where where we're going to build this decade and the next ones. So I think that the most important skill that we need to be mindful of gathering and keep on improving is learning. We need to keep on learning, learn continuously, educate ourselves. And that's something that clearly we need to do in order to become, I wouldn't say relevant, it's either to make meaning out of the world. And I truly mean what I'm saying. The second one is what we just talked about. So the opportunity throughout that education to get in touch with different kinds of points of view, and by having different points of view, create your own. Not just loan someone else's point of view, but actually create your own. But to do that, you need to get in touch with well, everything you can regarding one specific position or one specific matter or one specific issue. So that's where what needs to do. So what you need to do, you need to like get in touch and investigate and research a bit more. So I'd also suggest that. Finally, technology and overall the metaverse is happening, so it's something that it's not going to go away, and we're not going to like we are not going to just it's not something that just by wishing it's going to go away. So you have a lot of people right now that say, oh, but it's going to be like dystopian and this and that. Okay, if you don't do that, if you don't do anything to avoid that, then it's going to be dystopian. But then again, if it's going to be dystopian in your opinion, then hey, maybe you don't have a say on that, because when you were allowed to pitch in, which is right now, you didn't do anything. So that's why it's so important right now for you to actually become engaged and start participating in building the metaverse and well, pretty much all the solutions and all the environments and contexts where technology is. Because again, technology is going to disrupt things. The issue is it going to disrupt things the way you wish them to be disrupted, the way you wish them to be transformed? Now, if you become involved and if you really want for that to happen, for things to change your way, become involved and actually put in the effort, because that's the only way things will happen towards your end. Or else don't don't come out afterwards and say, oh, but things are not as they should be. Things are as we make them.
So at last, as a deep thinker, as a keen observer, what do you say about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I do believe that these kind of these kind of spaces that you have, that you're promoting, are the spaces that can like open the minds of people to exploring specific areas or specific topics. Most of the times people are like focused on their lives, and duly so. They're doing their thing, and they need to be rattled, let's say like that, with well, life and what's happening outside of their sphere. And I think again that this again, the space you promote and the talks you promote and your discussions are well, are focused on that, or enable that for people to actually know a bit more about what each one of these again topics, and from also, and people again learn that from the experience of other people. And that's also a very insightful way, in the sense that you can like allow for someone on the other side digitally to actually benefit from the well, from the trouble and the issues and the problems and the solutions that someone else had. I sometimes say that I wish I had so many more people with trouble around me during my life, because then I would know a bit more about what well, what trouble was, because then afterwards I would be able to sort things out. So that's why again it's really important to connect with as many people as possible and diverse people as possible, in order to get in and to build up more of our knowledge in, well, not just in one issue, but well, overall life. So kudos on that. It's a really cool approach.
And how I did masters in software engineering and graduation in computer science and engineering. So how this work, this talking with different people who are into different places, like for already experts in different subjects like you, who already have lot of knowledge, who have spent a lot of their lifetime, their mental, physical energy on different things, and telling their work experiences to me, how me listening to this, and how it is going to be helpful for me if I work in a tech industry with this complete tech knowledge.
I'm not sure I understood the question. So you're asking me how it's going to how the experience that I had could benefit you?
Yeah, how your experience at the same time, me talking with different country people and who are into different professions, not necessarily they are from technology. So how
Yeah.
all these experiences are going to helpful for me if I work in tech industry, because I did software engineering and masters in software engineering, graduation in computer science and engineering. How this is going to be helpful for me?
Well, again, what I'm thinking, you tell me, but what I'm thinking is that it all boils down to it mattering to you. So, of course, you have several profiles, and people's profiles come from different areas. There are areas where you probably are much more keen on knowing a bit more of how it works than others. And probably someone else that is listening to this is maybe not at all connected with technology, while you are, and maybe they are connected with again the social side of our world, of how social media changed their country, or changed their regulations. So overall, I think creating like a diverse space for people to share, it's always interesting. Um, I think it all boils down to creating, or to having like or steering the communication, and steering the messages towards each one of the target audiences, or sorry, to the correct audiences, or the audiences that care. So sometimes that might be like the main challenge, but overall, again, it's all knowledge that is then shared with people. So again, kudos.
So thank you, Luis, for giving me opportunity and for giving me your valuable time and telling about your experience and answering some of my questions and for everything that you did for your contribution.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. And looking forward to all the iterations, all new episodes. And meanwhile, stay safe and have a wonderful 2022.
You too, sir. Keep going, keep doing what you love. At the same time, keep inspiring people like this. Create more energy on this planet.
Let's see how things fare, and how the pandemic goes. But hopefully that will be done also face to face in a short while. Again, thank you very much, Sai, and you have a lovely day.
Thank you, sir. Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Absolutely, absolutely. Mind you, if you need anything else from me, just let me know. I'm also, well, as you know, we can connect also, or continue the conversation on Twitter. And yeah, and meanwhile, we're in touch. Again, I think it's important for all these discussions to push through, especially uh, to people that are not that connected with technology. So let's make that happen. Again, in the future, if you have any other spaces where you feel that it might make sense to pick up also on these kind of talks, or maybe picking up a bit more on the immersive side, immersive technologies and all of that, you're more than welcome to buzz me, and I'll let you know.
So definitely, sir. In coming days, again, I'll invite you, and whenever you want to say anything to my audience and to the world through my medium, you're always welcome.
Perfect, Sai. Again, you have a lovely week, and meanwhile, stay safe. And well, we're in touch. So looking forward to your feedback, and also to the published version.
Yeah. And also, can I put
Yeah.
this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Sure, sure, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you,
Share it
Liz. Yeah.
with me afterwards, and I'll also share with the network.
Yeah. Thank you. Sure. Once I'll let you know once it is published.
Very well.
Thank you,
Perfect.
sir.
Bye again. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.